You can finally create simple effects that everyone uses every day in Photoshop right in OBS. Like this outer glow, simple stroke outlines, or even amazing drop shadows. It's totally free and easy to use. I'm gonna show you how today, so you know what? Let's get to it! There are links in the description to the OBS plugin that you can download and follow along. It's totally free, and that is the best way to learn. Let's get the plugin completely installed. So we're going to start out on this page, and we'll just go to download, and we can select the installer. There's Mac OS, Linux, and 2 different Windows installers. The easier one is the one that says installer, so we'll just click download right there. So next we just need to go into our downloads folder. We can right click and extract it. And once we do that, it's pretty simple. All we do is go into the extracted folder and we run the installer. And right here you can see it says don't run. If you click that, you will not be installing anything. A lot of the plugins are going to be like this. They're not signed because they don't want to go through all of Windows rigmarole to get the product signed because they're not selling it. It's just free. So we can click on more info up here and click run anyways. And we're going to get an administrative prompt that you can't see, but we're just going to click yes. And it comes up to this, and all we have to do is click install, and it will install it on here. Now you can see that I have OBS open and running, which is why it's not going to install, but I already have this on the system. So if you don't have OBS open, you can just click next through everything. Make sure that you are going to the correct directory for OBS, and once you're finished up, it will be completely installed. You'll be ready to go. Now let me show you how easy this plugin is to use. So there are a couple of different ways to use this. The first thing we'll do is go ahead and add a camera. So I'm going to go over to our sources here. We'll just click the plus. We'll go to video capture device, and we're going to add a camera. I'm going to go ahead and add a microphone to this camera using the custom audio devices and select the microphone that I want to use. So there we go. And we're all set. Now we've got a camera in here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and right click on this. We'll go into filters, and I'm just going to remove the background for this one to make it a little more interesting and easy for just doing this first one here. So we're going to do the NVIDIA background removal, remove our background. There we go. So we don't have any color in the background or anything like that, which is fine. So now if we go ahead and click the plus, we can see that we've got glow, and we've got shadow and stroke right in here. So let's start out with stroke, and we'll click that, and we've got a white color. So we need to just go into our sources here, and we can select which source we want. In this case, we want the video capture device, and we can uncheck the infill, and we just get this really nice little stroke around us. Now this stroke is completely independent of our camera, and I'll show you what I mean by that in a second. But we can adjust the stroke size so it's bigger or smaller. We can actually offset it a little bit so it just kind of puts a little bit of a space in between us and the stroke. So we'll go ahead and just do that, and there we go. And we can make the stroke whatever color we want, all that sort of stuff. But now if I grab this, you can see that the stroke is completely independent from the camera. So if I wanted to turn this into a smaller camera, I've got to obviously select the same size. So the easiest way to do this is to just kind of move down here, and I can move my mouse over top, and we can see the blue that represents the camera, and just line it up, and there we go. And then we can actually select both of these, right click and go to group. And now we have them grouped in the same object, basically. So I can move them together as one object. So now we've got a stroke around ourselves that looks pretty cool. But we don't have to add it that way if we didn't want to. We can go ahead and just remove this from the group, and we can remove this stroke altogether, or we can remove the group. Let's go ahead and just remove this group. And that's going to remove our stroke. And so we can add the stroke by using filters. We can right click on here and go into filters, and we can click the plus, and we'll add a stroke right here, and boom. And you can see it adds the exact same stroke. We can adjust our offset just the same as we had it before. And there we go. Now, it does matter the order that you have these in. So if I had the NVIDIA background below it, you're not going to see it. So just keep in mind that if you don't see it, it could be because of that. Now, let's go ahead and add another object in here. Let's add a video. So I'm going to click the plus, and I'm going to go to media source. And I'm just going to add a video that I commonly add to a lot of these. And boom. And we'll just loop the video. Click OK. And I'll just shrink it up here. And go like that. So what if we wanted to add stroke to that? Well, the easiest way to do that is through filters as well. So we could just right click, go to filters, and we'll click the plus. And we'll add a stroke to our image right here and click OK. And you can see we don't really get anything. You don't see anything. There's no white outline on it. It doesn't matter how big I make it. Now we could theoretically change it to inner stroke, but you still don't really see any stroke. What's going on here? It just doesn't make any sense. Well, we'll change this to outer stroke again. And what we're going to do is go ahead, and the problem is that the outer stroke is going to exceed the boundaries of our actual image. So in other words, the stroke is there, we just can't see it because that's the extent of our image. So what we want to do is click the plus, and we want to go and we're going to select crop and pad. And we're going to add some negative pad to this, so minus 200. And so it just adds space around the outside of our image to give our stroke someplace to go. So now if we go ahead and move stroke below that, oh wow, there it goes. Our stroke shows up. And you're going to have the same problem with glow and drop shadow. If you don't add pad around images, static images like this, you're never going to see them. So now we've got some really cool stuff going on here for stroke. We can add glow as well. So let's say we wanted to add glow, but I didn't want the glow to go, I wanted the glow to kind of go through our stroke here. So I'm going to right click on filters, and I'm going to go to the stroke, and I'm just going to add a little more offset to this, so it goes out a little bit farther. And we can add, maybe a little bit of size to it. And there we go. So what if we wanted the glow to come kind of off of us? Well, we could do that by just clicking on here, and we can add it as a source. And so we'll go into our glow here, right here, and click OK. And we want our glow to be, let's do orange or reddish orange. There we go. Something like that. So that's the color we want it to be. We can select the source. In this case, the source is our video capture device. So, and then what we can do is adjust the size and the intensity. So there we go. So now kind of what we get is that blockage. We just got to line it up with the blue lines for this. And once we do, we're going to kind of have a pretty cool little effect here. We'll have our glow being broken up by, yeah, there we go. We got it lined up pretty good. We can move it over just a little bit. I'm going to just use the keyboard to move it over a little bit. And there we go. So now we've got it lined up pretty good. So where we have this orange, almost like an orange stroke with an orange glow that extends beyond. And that looks pretty cool. So if we wanted to make sure that this kind of stuck with the other one, and we could put this above or below, and you can see it doesn't make any difference in this particular case. And then we can do what we were talking about before and just go ahead and group the selected. And so now we can move this all as a group. That looks pretty cool. I actually kind of like that. Now as far as drop shadow go, let's go ahead and we'll click the plus here. And what we're going to do to make it easily visible is we're going to add a color source. Click OK. And we'll add this white background color source. We'll just move it to the bottom. Now you can see my glow shows up pretty cool. The white right there kind of shows up pretty cool. But let's change the white stroke to a drop shadow. And all we need to do in order to do that is to go into our media source here. We'll right click and we're going to go into filters again. And we'll just delete the stroke that we have right here. And we're going to leave the crop and pad because a drop shadow is also going to appear outside of the boundaries of the image. So we need that pad right there so that it gives our drop shadow a place to show up. And we're going to go into our shadow and click OK. And you can already see it formulating there. We can just adjust the size and the intensity. So maybe we don't want it to be super intense. We can change the distance and the angle, as you can see, anywhere around our stuff. So I like the shadow distance to be pretty good. And then I can dial down the intensity a little bit. So there we go. And that's kind of what you have. Now you've got a real nice kind of drop shadow on top of your images. This looks particularly good with a brighter image than the one we have here. This one actually kind of blends into the drop shadow. So we could theoretically fix that by going into our filters again and clicking the plus, and we can go to our stroke and we can just add in a super thin stroke. We want to put it above our shadow, and this is just kind of to differentiate it. And you could make this you know, any color you want. So let's kind of make it more of a bronzish color so it just gives a little bit of definition. In fact, I think I want it just a little bit brighter than that, so we'll just move it more into the yellows so it kind of has like a goldish color. And there you go. And then we'll bump the size up just a touch. So it gives it that little bit of framing outline, which really accentuates the drop shadow. And I think even so, we can probably make that drop shadow a little more visible. By just increasing the intensity just a little bit. And there we go. So now we've got a really cool effect. Especially on a white background, you can point to that sort of stuff and it just looks cool. It adds something totally different. I can drop shadow on me, I can drop shadow on any images or videos or any shapes or any asset that we put in here. The stroke, glow, and shadow is a game changer. It's all of the things that we've been doing in Photoshop for years that weren't easily available in OBS, but now they are. And you can add these on top of one another because you can add them to the source or you can add them as a filter. So you can literally pile these on top of one another to create some absolutely amazing effects. When you use this in conjunction with other effects, you can really even go further. So let's say we wanted to animate the glow that I have around me using my voice. Well, we could do that. Let's go into our group here. And we're going to go into our video capture device. I'm going to right click and I'm going to go into filters. And up here at the top where it's audio video filters, I'm going to click the plus and I'm going to do an audio move. And for audio move, we want the action. We're going to go to setting. The source for the setting we're going to select is our video capture device. The filter that we're going to select is our stroke. And there we go. So now you can see that everything will expand and contract based on the stroke size. We've got magnitude here. You can select all kinds of different stuff. We'll just keep it there. We can ease it a little bit so it doesn't get quite so crazy. And we can adjust our base value here to like -20 so it's a little more subtle. And you can see what that does. Now it increases the intensity of our white stroke. And so we always have the glow, but now it expands it. It makes it boom up anytime that I use my voice. So you can use the stroke and glow in conjunction with all kinds of other plugins, in this case the Move plugin, to do all kinds of really cool stuff. That just looks awesome. And it's a lot of fun. Pretty awesome stuff. It's hard to believe it took this long for these simple things to be added into OBS. If you want to see a bunch of other cool plugins for OBS, you should check this video out. And if you have any questions about plugins, you can always join me on my live stream. It's every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I answer your questions. I look forward to seeing you there. And if you're always looking for tools, tips, and tricks to help make you a better live streamer or YouTuber, subscribe to the channel. My name is Michael Feyrer Jr. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.